So today we are having conversations that most of us don't want to have because we don't want to think about life or the end of life. We've all been a part of homegoing celebrations or lost someone we love, but it's really important that we are mindful of the things that we'll need to make sure that we're not leaving our families with the burden of paying for the expenses. So, Henderson's Funeral and Cremation Care, we are here today talking with Ryan. We're going to learn a little bit more about who he is, the work that he does, why this is important, and what you can do to make sure you're ready when that day comes and we're not leaving a burden on our families. Ryan, thank you for taking time to talk with me today.
Well, thank you for being here, Dwana. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak to everybody today.
Yeah, well, wonderful. Tell us all a little bit about yourself. I feel like you might be a little new to our community, but not so new. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Ryan Fredregill. I grew up in Zeering, Iowa, real small town, northeast of Des Moines, maybe 45 miles, give or take. My dad was a funeral director, started working within the funeral industry just as a young kid. I would always get out of school to go help him. At the time, when I was 16, I just knew this is what I was meant to do. Right after high school, I went straight to mortuary school in Dallas, Texas, and I've never looked back since. In 2003, after working in Dallas and in Kansas City, I moved back to my home kind of area. I went to Zeering for a little while and then ended up creating and starting a funeral home in Baxter, and I've been there ever since.
Okay, so what was it that drew you here to this place? I know Des Moines probably a little bit bigger city than in Zeering and in Baxter, but what was it that you wanted to be a part of here?
Just getting the opportunity to meet Miss Donna and Mr. Walt. I mean, they were community through and through, and just get to watch them do what they did. And they had faith in me and trusted in me that I could carry on their legacy and give me that opportunity to obviously to be a little bit bigger with this economy anymore. It seems like if you don't get bigger, you kind of go out. And being small town funeral homes, we had to expand or look for opportunities. This one was super close, and what big shoes to fill and legacy to carry on.
Yeah, big shoes to fill, but it sounds like you have an amazing staff who stayed, who is here, who is helping the support that you do. So it's great to hear that you still have that awesome staff here as well.
Absolutely. We have wonderful staff, and they were well trained to begin with. So it did make my job a lot easier coming in.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, let's start having this conversation. This is the conversation that no one wants to have. No one wants to be. I even told my daughter I was coming here to record, and she was like, "What's going on?" And I said, "No, it's just a recording or just having a conversation." But it seems to be a taboo topic of sorts. And I don't want to say it's just in our community. I think it's in communities in general. Why do we not want to have these conversations?
Definitely in every community amongst every Iowan is nobody wants to think about death. Nobody wants to talk about death. We all have plans for tomorrow, and we think we're going to hit those plans. Well, sometimes that's not a reality.
Right.
And in that shock and awe, loved ones don't know what to do because they've all been afraid to talk about what you want for your services, where all of your important documents are located, all of those things that really are super important for people to have a plan and know what the plan is in time where things don't go as planned.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like you said, we all plan for the next day, and then things happen and it doesn't turn out that way. And I'm sure people can tell the story of loved ones that, they thought would be around here and they're not. And as you do this work, though, I just wonder, how do you do this work? Because I think of seeing the loss and helping people through that and helping them through these times. Like, how do you handle that? That's got to be a lot to see people go through day in, day out.
It is a lot to go through day in and day out, but on the flip side, it's so rewarding to be there for those families and help them through their darkest hours and their toughest days, and to guide them and to show them the care and compassion, and then for them to know that their loved one's in good hands. I mean, it's super important to me. And the other thing is, being a funeral director it's really truly a calling, specifically for me and anybody that you see that's been in the industry for a while or the profession for a while. You just know it's in their blood, and it's what their God-given talent was and what they were meant to do and be.
Yeah, well, God bless you for that, because I know everyone, can't do that. And, a lot of emotions come into that. So I think people are really grateful for those who do that job and are able to do it. So talk to me about families, if we're having to have those conversations with you. Sometimes people don't know the things that they need. Sometimes we're so caught up in our emotions and the loss of someone that we really don't know what we need when we have to come talk to you. What are some of those things we need to be ready to have when we need to have those conversations with you?
So the first thing that we are really going to need is going to be some of that biographical information, such as where a person was born at, their parents' names, mom's maiden name, social security. We do the death certificate, get it signed by the doctor, then we file it. We also file social security for families. So social security number is going to be another really big thing that we need. And then the next questions that kind of come with those questions that we ask of the family would be information for an obituary. What did they like to do? What were their hobbies? What did they belong to from their surviving family that's preceded in death? And then from there, we're going to talk about the services themselves, what mom or dad wanted, what they didn't want, where do they want the services to be, what type of services are they thinking about having, and then clothing, picture, all of those things that really come to make the very beginning process to start the entire service.
Right. Now, it used to be that we would tell people, you've got time, right? You can take the time to think about this and how you want things to be and getting your will and all of these things done. But we're finding now that that's not the case. I mean, unfortunately, we have young people who are passing away and people aren't prepared for that. So when is the right time to really start preparing? When do I need to start writing out the will? When do I need to start being mindful of telling people what my wishes are? When should we start doing that?
I don't think there's a magical age on it. But again, any age, the younger, the better. Have a plan. Talk to your spouse, talk to your significant other, talk to your children, whatever it may be. I want a funeral. I want to be cremated. I want to be buried to such and such. Here's kind of where my important documents are. Don't lock them away in a lockbox, or it's fine if you do. But if you pass on a Friday, we're not going to have any of those answers till Monday morning. So make some copies. Have somebody that's in charge of your estate or your executor of your story.
All your stuff.
Be in charge and know where it's at. Prime example. I'm my parents' executor. My dad's been a funeral director for 50 plus years. They haven't told me where a thing is. And he knows better.
Right.
They have things certainly done. But again, that's going to be a nightmare for me because I've watched families try to go through that. And it is a time and a place where all of your ducks should be in a row. And no matter the age, sooner the better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the sooner the better. And I think the biggest thing is tell people where things are. Make sure you tell what your wishes are. I mean, maybe you don't write them down, but maybe you at least express them to someone that these are the things that I want to do and these are the things that I see happening. What I've noticed lately, though, is a lot of people are not planned. They don't have the life insurance policy. I've seen more GoFundMes that pop up on social media because people weren't ready. So I can't stress the importance of, being ready for this. But say, for instance, we do have a loved one that passes away and they don't have anything, no life insurance, no nothing. Are we still out of luck here? Are you going to be able to help someone if they have nothing at all in place?
So we do still help families through that. And obviously it depends on exactly what they want. We can try to keep it as affordable as possible. There's always the general assistance through the county if they apply for that. But then again, if families want more and more, we offer financing. We take credit cards. We let multiple credit cards run. The GoFundMes in the world, which really has just became a platform for funeral services in general, it seems like. Whoever's in charge of that GoFundMe gets the money, and it doesn't tend to always make its way where it needs to be as well.
Okay. That's good to know. I don't know if many people know that. I've seen so many of them. I'm just assuming it gets into the right hands, or if it's a direct pipeline to the funeral home. I never knew
we
how those
do
things
now
work.
have it on our website where that then is a direct pipeline to the funeral home, and we can offer to turn that on for families, and we have done that and been somewhat successful as well.
Okay, no, that's great. Now I'm going to flip things just a little bit here. I know we've been talking about, what you need to do, why it's important, how you got into this work. I'm not too naive to think that someone could be listening today and saying, I think I want to get into this line of work, but I didn't want to tell anybody because they're thinking, you really want to do something like that? Talk to someone who maybe want to get into this line of work and how they can go about, doing this someday if this is something they really want to do.
Sure. So in Iowa, you have to have mortuary school to be a funeral director. And in addition to that, you really have to have 60 other college credit hours as well. So it is 4 years of school to go to be a funeral director to get your Iowa license. Some states are a little bit different and it's less, and some states are a little bit more. But overall, I always try to tell anybody that comes to me and do a tour, we talk to, it is a lifestyle. And I try to have them understand what the lifestyle is. We miss Christmas, we miss birthdays, we miss, celebrations, anniversaries or whatnot with our own families because we're out serving other families. And some people, that's a hard adjustment to fully understand. If you do have some interest in being in funeral service or a funeral director, certainly try to get your foot in a door and work at a funeral home for a little while and see if you really think it's going to be worth the schooling to do that. There's certainly other professions or jobs to do that pay better. There's no doubt about it. There's easier ways to make money, but again, it has to be in your blood. It has to be in your heart, and it's got to be what you're meant to do. As statistically, most funeral directors are not in the business 5 years after they graduate mortuary school. I think it's somewhere like 75%.
Wow. So it really takes the heart to really want to be able to do this line of work.
It takes the heart, and then also, to have that support that's okay with the lifestyle. I'm blessed with a wife that understands that this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I do. And she's very understanding.
Yeah. No, that's great. I've enjoyed our conversation just about touching on some of these things. If people wanted to know a little bit more about the Hendersons, how the things that are going on, what you all are doing, maybe they need to contact you. How are they able to do that?
So our phone number is 515-309-6550. If you want to call, make an appointment, we'd be happy to sit down and talk with you face to face. Our website is hendersonsfuneralcare.com. So those are both two wonderful avenues. Our Facebook is Hendersons Highland Park still. We're working on getting that switched over yet. But yeah, so through Facebook as well. So those would be the three. We do have pre-planning packets that are free of charge. We would be happy to provide those with anybody that does have any interest in those as well.
Okay. No, that's great. I just want to encourage all of our listeners to have the tough conversations, being able to know what your loved ones want, what are their wishes, knowing where things are. That's so important, to know where everything is, where are all the documents kept. But we just want to encourage you all to really take care of yourself. It's important. I know we don't want to talk about death. It is part of life. Unfortunately, if we could all live forever, that'd be great. But we know that that's how this goes. So Ryan, we've talked a little bit about all of this stuff. I never want to end the show on a note of like, oh man, this is how we're ending things. I like to switch it to the positive because I think it's important that people know there are great things happening. People chime into positiveness. So is there a scripture, a quote, a song, a mantra, something that you do that keeps you upbeat and going? I mean, especially I think in what you do now, I think it can be easy to get into the, oh, here we go again. But what keeps you upbeat? What keeps you joyful? What is the positiveness for you?
So family is everything to me. I mean, absolutely. I love all my wife and all the kids and all the different activities they're in. Obviously, being a Christian, the Bible is important too. I'm not the person that can quote those like I should be able to, even though I've been there and done it all, and I do all that. But family is the most important thing for me, and that keeps me going and keeps me focused.
All right. Well, that's great. So we wanted to end everything on a good note. Make sure family, connect with your family, love on your family, and make sure you're supporting your own family. Ryan, we thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us today, and appreciate all of the work that you're doing in our community.
Well, glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.